Ever heard the phrase, failure is not an option? Well, I used to live by that motto. I was like a tightrope walker, high above the ground with no safety net, every step a battle against the terrifying abyss of failure beneath me. And one day, the unimaginable happened. I fell. I was working on a project I was incredibly passionate about. I poured my heart and soul into it, burning the midnight oil, sacrificing weekends, convinced that success was the only acceptable outcome. But despite all the blood, sweat, and tears, the project failed. It was like watching my dreams crumble before my eyes. The fear of failure had been hovering around me like a specter, and now it had materialized into reality. I was paralyzed. The fear was so overwhelming that it left me unable to move forward. I was stuck in a rut of self-doubt and anxiety, consumed by the thought that I had let myself and everyone around me down. I was drowning in a sea of failure, and the fear of it was the anchor dragging me deeper. But then, one day, I made a decision. A decision to confront my fear, to stare it straight in the eyes. I decided to pick up the pieces and start over. I realized that failure wasn't the end. It was merely a detour, a bump in the road. It wasn't about avoiding failure, it was about learning from it, growing stronger, building resilience. And so I dusted myself off and got back on that tightrope, this time with a newfound courage. I realized that the fear of failure was like a shadow, always present but powerless in the face of light. And that light was my determination, my will to succeed, my resilience in the face of adversity. The transformation was profound. I no longer feared failure. Instead, I embraced it, used it as a stepping stone toward success. I understood that to fail is to learn, to grow, to evolve. And with each fall, I rose higher, stronger, more determined. That's the day I realized that failure isn't the enemy. It's the fear of failure that holds us back. So, what exactly is this fear of failure that we speak of? Well, it's a psychological phenomenon that's often rooted in self-doubt and a negative self-image. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, "What if I'm not good enough? What if I mess up?" It's an unwelcome guess that, if unchecked, can cast a long shadow over your personal and professional life. This fear can be paralyzing, leading you to avoid taking risks or stepping outside of your comfort zone. It can stop you from reaching for your dreams because you're afraid of falling short. It can stifle your creativity, hinder your progress, and can even lead to physical and emotional exhaustion. But here's the thing, the first step to overcoming the fear of failure is understanding it. It's not failure itself that's scary. What's truly terrifying is what we make it mean about us. It's time to change that narrative. The first step to overcoming the fear of failure is understanding it. It's not failure itself that's scary, it's what we make it mean about us. Now that we know what we're dealing with, how do we go about conquering this fear? It might seem daunting, but the answer lies in embracing practical strategies that can help us reframe our perception of failure. First and foremost, we need to understand that failure is not the end of the world, but a stepping stone toward success. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. Think of failure as a teacher who's there to guide us, not punish us. We all stumble, we all fall, but it's the lessons we glean from these experiences that shape our future triumphs. Next, let's talk about setting realistic expectations. It's wonderful to aim for the stars, but we must remember that even the brightest stars weren't formed overnight. Success is a journey, not a destination. So, set achievable goals and celebrate every milestone, no matter how small. This way, we're not overwhelmed by the enormity of our dreams, but are motivated by the progress we're making. Now, on to the third strategy, practicing self-compassion. We often tend to be our own harshest critics, but berating ourselves for every misstep is counterproductive. It's crucial to treat ourselves with kindness, understanding that we're human and it's okay to make mistakes. Remember, our worth is not determined by our failures, but by our resilience and determination to keep going. Last but not least, don't hesitate to seek support when you need it. It's easy to feel isolated in our struggles, but remember, even the most successful people have had their fair share of failures and have leaned on others for support. Reach out to mentors, friends, family, or even professional counselors. It's not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your strength and determination to overcome your fears. So there you have it. Practical strategies to help you conquer the fear of failure. Remember, these strategies are not a magic bullet, but tools to help you navigate the rocky road to success. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning to bounce back stronger and wiser. Still not convinced? Let's take a look at some of the most successful people in the world who also happen to have failed spectacularly at some point. Take Oprah Winfrey, for instance. She was fired from her first television job as an anchor in Baltimore. But did that stop her? No. She went on to build a media empire and is now one of the most influential women in the world. Or consider Steve Jobs. He was ousted from his own company, Apple, only to return years later and revolutionize the tech industry with products like the iPhone and the iPad. And let's not forget J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a worldwide phenomenon, Rowling was a single mother living on welfare. Her manuscript was rejected by 12 publishers before it was finally accepted. These iconic figures didn't see failure as the end. They saw it as a stepping stone to success. Failure didn't define them, and it doesn't have to define you. They overcame it, and so can you. So, are you ready to face your fear of failure head on? The time for action is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. The strategies we've discussed aren't just words, they're tools, ready to be used in your life. It's time to pick them up and start building your success story. Let's reiterate something crucial. Embrace failure. Yes, you heard it right. Embrace it. Why? Because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. Think of Thomas Edison, J.K. Rowling, Walt Disney. They failed and failed again, but they kept going. They saw failure not as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone, a lesson learned, a path to refinement. So take that step, make that move, write that first page. And if you stumble, if you fall, remember, it's not the fall that defines you. It's how you rise, how you learn, how you grow. Remember, it's not failure that stands in the way of your dreams. It's the fear of failure. Conquer it, and there's nothing you can't achieve.